League One's remaining title holders meet up for the second time this season on ESPN+. It's the Greenville Triumph and Union Omaha at Legacy Early College in Greenville, South Carolina. Welcome one and all to the broadcast. My name is Mark Schoenstern. To my right is Ross Davenport. Ross, this could be a big game today.
Certainly could be. These two were supposed to meet in the last two title games. Obviously, COVID got in the way a little bit, but playing for that big green belt tonight. Here's the updated standings in Greenville. If they get some help with Richmond, it could be 9 points clear tonight.
I think it's the first time this season we've had a team in first place and really establish themselves as that top spot. Big win last weekend over the Richmond Kickers. Meanwhile, Omaha, still a couple games in hand. They can end up competing for that top seed spot with Greenville once they catch up in that regard. But you got to win those games in order for that to be at an advantage. Meanwhile, on the Greenville side of things, Ross, I mentioned about a week and a half ago that Jacob Blabovitz was getting tons of chances and he wasn't putting them away. Well, how does 7 shots, 5 goals in the span of 2 games do to impress that?
With the loss of Marius Lomas and Lachlan McLean this offseason, the question with Greenville was who's going to put the ball in the back of the net. It took a little while to get going, but Jacob Blabovitz, the rookie out of Virginia Tech, now with 10 goals in his last 10 games and 5 just last week.
Erlong Associates and Sotheby's player to watch. Meanwhile, on the other side, Omaha have a rookie who has proven to be a rather talented finisher, Hugo Kamatani.
Yeah, the rookie out of Japan. He scored 2 goals in his first 3 programs, got off to a great start out of University of Omaha, Nebraska, where Jay Mims was a former coach. Listed up top tonight, he struck back in the midfield the last couple of games. You have to be looking to make it back-to-back games with goals here against Greenville.
They like where his confidence is at this point. Of course, had their keen eye on him during his collegiate career. Greenville had a keen eye on Labovitz during his collegiate career, and now they take center stage in the pro game. It's Greenville and it's Omaha. Lineups at kickoff are coming up next on ESPN+.
Is that a meatball?
What the? Oh yeah, it's meatball time.
Limoncello, the official pasta and proud sponsor of the Greenville Triumph.
My name is Ryan Mackey, high performance coach for the 2020 USL League One champions, the Greenville Triumph. We are Greenville, South Carolina's pro soccer team, and we are 3-time USL League One finalists. Premier Medical Laboratory Services is a lab that we trust for fast, accurate medical diagnostics, and they keep our athletes on the field healthy and safe. We know we can rely on them to provide the results that we need on our way to becoming the next USL League One champs.
At Piedmont Natural Gas, being a part of the communities we serve is important to us, because to us, community begins with you. We strive to address the needs of our communities by investing time and resources to help improve the quality of life for our customers. For over 60 years, we have funded programs that support education, the environment, and community impact. Our Energy Assistance Program, Share the Warmth, helps customers pay their energy bills. We're committed to helping our neighbors by powering the vitality of our communities.
And welcome back here to Legacy Early College. It's the Triumph and it's Union Omaha. And they're about to kick off here in just a minute. Mark Schoenstern alongside me, Ross Davenport. I'll take a look at lineups here in just a moment. A lot of familiar faces in the starting 11s, but maybe some new names as far as the bench are concerned as we look at the Spartanburg Regional Healthcare System lineups.
Yeah, the big news for John Harkes, no Noah Pilato in the center of midfield. He's injured again with an ankle problem. Jake Keegan also out with an abdominal issue. In comes Miles Fenton for his 3rd start of the season. We'll probably see him just sit behind Smart and Walker, with Evans perhaps a little more out wide. No backup keeper once again. Ben Hale remains out.
As we look at the Union Omaha side of things, just one change due to the absence of JP Skiers.
Yep, Skiers with the red card suspension. He sits in favor of the utility man, Amir Ali Hazic. big news here. Luis Gil, the new addition, just yesterday is on the bench and part of the 18. Perhaps an option in the second half for J Mims.
Could provide a spark if they need some more goal-scoring chances. Should they be behind a goal? Should it be level? They just need to find another explosive moment. Gil could get subbed into the game and make it happen. And here's a look at our Harper General Contractors building blocks. Starting off with Greenville, confidence and discipline was the thing that Harks was emphasizing. Meanwhile, J Mims thought his guys, they enjoy going to these away trips and playing on these wider pitches.
So Greenville comes into this one 7 undefeated. The first of those came against Omaha. They supreme confidence, but they've got to remain disciplined against a team like Omaha that can beat you on the break. And yeah, J Mims said his team's still taking a little used to get playing at home with so many new players. They've only played 5 games there all season. So looking to enjoy this space out here at Legacy Early College.
And they're going to get this one going real quickly. Malcolm pushing forward, but it's well escorted off by Miles Fenton.
He almost had the fastest goal in League One history.
Well, that's how J Mims likes it, is quick, direct, and right down the gut.
Come on, Malcolm, just a heavy touch there. You can see how disappointed in himself he was. Really should have done better there.
As you see there, our head official for today, Gerald Flores. Like to keep the peace here between these two sides for the next 90 minutes of action. Meza getting ushered off the ball, but one back by Ali Hadzic. Omaha with their foot on the gas to start things early here. Of course, this is the rematch of a 2-0 victory earlier in the season for Greenville. And then, of course, you got to acknowledge the championship victory for Omaha at the end of last season to win the title over the Triumph.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of revenge in that first matchup, but this Omaha team is such a different side from that team that won the title last year. Only Nuhu and Doyle, as well as Knutson back starting from that game. So it's a bit of a different. It's always going to be different in League One. You know, most players don't stick around for more than a couple of years. Greenville's been very lucky to keep their core together. Union Omaha, not so much. Lost a ton of guys, obviously, to the championship last season, as well as other leagues.
Yeah, more revenge in essence than in the faces of the players you're up against.
I think that makes a difference, though, Mark. I really think it does. You could say that I think that was it. I think getting that 2-0 win earlier in the season, that kind of made up for that championship loss, I think. Obviously, if they get there again, I think that would be the next time they really think about it. But it's, again, a much different Omaha squad than last season.
I'd say when it comes to sort of the revenge motivation narrative, J Mims was talking more about it, given the last result, than John Harks did about that final.
Yeah, he said his players were still thinking about that first defeat.
Here's Don Smart. He'll play it back to Gavilanes.
It's going to be interesting to see how this Greenville midfield sets up.
Evans brings it down, but all by himself, and I would say for good reason or bad reason, depending on how you dub that, but offside, so nothing to come of it.
Yeah, Noah Pilato, was John Harks mentioned, just starting to get back to real full game fitness, and now out again with another ankle injury. They haven't lost since his return to the starting lineup. That came in that Union Omaha game back in mid-June. See how they cope tonight. Fenton played a couple of games, started a couple of games early this season, but that was when Aaron Walker was out. Now playing with Walker tonight. Likely see Fenton, I think, and Walker playing that sort of double pivot, giving Don Smart maybe perhaps some more room to run here. Looks like he's going to be playing in a more advanced position already.
Yeah, he's definitely cheated up forward further than he usually does. That one bouncing just too far ahead of Alan Gavilanes. More recently, Greenville, a big victory they had this season was the road trip they took last weekend, where they were able to win 3-1 over the Richmond Kickers in what was really the first big 1 versus 2 matchup of the season. It may have happened early in the season when anyone could have been number 1 or 2 if they won a game. It's Don Smart, and the flag goes up once again. John Hark said that we came out of the gate fast in the game and could have scored even faster than we did. We had some great chances, and he mentioned he knew these players had the makeup to bounce back from that 5-5 game against Tormenta, and they stayed positive. So we take a look now at our injury report today. Mentioned some of these names already on the Wilson and Engelbart injury report. Noah Pilato, probably the biggest name here, and then Jake Keegan, another pretty big piece for Greenville.
One thing I did mention during the lineups is the return of Noah Frankie. Actually, the first time we've seen Noah Frankie, I should say. He did play in preseason in one game and then fractured and dislocated his elbow. Nasty injury that's kept him out till now. This is our first time, if we see him on the pitch tonight, in a Greenville uniform. Obviously coming over from FC Tucson, where he was such an effective attacking fullback last year. Nate Schultz at right back has done a great job filling in for Frankie, though. Let's see if he can hold on to his job.
Yeah, at this point, I wouldn't even consider it filling in. He's very much established himself in that right back spot.
He's got a couple of assists to his name, does Nate Schultz. Walker's fouled.
It's Tyler Polak pointing some orders before giving it to Alan Gavilanez. Here's Fenton. In a sea of white jerseys, then it's given away.
Nice run from Fenton, though. Something we're used to seeing from him. From England, played his college ball at Furman. I thought we were going to have a stoppage of play. We weren't for a second, but Brandon Fricke's down. You can see the strapping on his right thumb. Sustained. Perhaps he's hurt it again. You can tell from the way he's down.
He's ailing, that's for certain.
It's a hot one today for the Reedy River Riot.
Now sitting in the 90-degree threshold.
A lot of sunglasses out there. Wisely so. You do have to look into the sun there. Looks like perhaps it's that right thumb that Fricke's feeling again.
Yeah, and that can hurt.
It's not a good sign. Already injured there. They do have Jamie Smith now healthy. Could jump in at center back if needed.
You may be wondering, well, it's just his hand. You're playing soccer. It's not that big of a deal. But, I mean, if it's a significant amount of pain, then it's going to distract you and be an issue.
Just fell on it, yeah. Well, the problem is now he's hurt it. He's going to feel that. It's just going to be taken away. On the mental side of things, he's going to be feeling and worried about contact. Perhaps they could put a little more strapping on it. See, he's got some, not a cast, but he's got something that's pretty solid on there already. Just kind of fell in it. I think John Harks had mentioned he fell in it and kind of had a nasty little fracture.
And as a center back, you don't want to be wincing when contact is coming your way.
Not the tallest team in the world, so you shouldn't have too many aerial duels to worry about tonight, which is normally when you worry about landing on your hand like that. That was just an unfortunate one there for Fricky. See if he can shake it off.
So this one will be played back. Celebrating its 75th anniversary, Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL League One. Choose what you play with at www.selectsportamerica.com. Select, League's choice, player's choice. Whistle from our head official, Jared Flores. Give the free kick to Omaha.
He's heard enough from Aaron Walker. Aaron does like to chat. He's the captain, though. Not tonight. The away captain for Greenville. Tyler Polak, the actual captain tonight.
So look at things going again here. Omaha also coming off of a win. It was a victory at home against FC Tucson in what was an ugly match. It was rather eventful, but a 2-1 scoreline, and Jay Mims said it was an important match for us. So finally getting a home game, and we wanted to right things at home and score some goals there. Just get it going in front of the home crowd as Don Smart pushes forward, gets pushed down. The whistle blows, and that should be just outside the penalty area.
Flowers already getting a ton of verbal from both sides here in the first 10 minutes. A pretty legitimate foul.
And that's another savvy League One veteran getting a mouthful from our head official, Connor Doyle, and throwing a mouthful as well.
He's got enough already. He's got that's a card just to calm things down on both sides. Connor Doyle in the book.
Here's a look on the 11-11 systems replay.
Yeah, it was a smart play from Smart. He kind of crossed Doyle, and Doyle just clumsily ran into it. Now, the thing for Greenville is they don't have a legitimate set-piece specialist.
You would think maybe Jesus Ibarra could be someone, but of course sitting on the bench right now.
In the 18.
Yeah.
Aaron Walker can crack him at times. It's a little central here. Not known for somebody to have a whole ton of movement on the ball, but you can put some power behind it. See what happens here. Gavlanius flips. Might tap it to him. No, it's going to be Walker, I think.
Walker takes it himself! Hauled up and over. Rashid Nuhu, active hands and getting the job done.
Yeah, nice strike from Walker.
Fans, it's time to open Twitter and visit at GVL China to vote for the song of the match. Voting will end at the 35th minute of the first half. Your song choice will be played during halftime from your favorite DJ, DJ Shay. PNC Corners for Kids.
So we're going to get our first PNC's Corner for Kids here. Ball swings in, scuffed around.
Evans got there before Nuhu. I'm not sure what Nuhu was complaining about. Evans just beaten to the ball. Luckily didn't get enough contact to knock it goalwards. Nuhu, the Golden Glove leader coming into the season. I think he could give up a few goals tonight and would still be in the lead.
Yeah.
A healthy lead in that department. Speaking of goalkeepers, I want to say congrats to Dallas J, announcing his retirement this week. Going to go and coach at St. Mary's, the Gales in California there, his home state. Obviously such a great part of the early Greenville success until this season when he departed to Monterey Bay. Had 30 clean sheets in his Greenville career.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Rashid Nuhu and Dallas J, the only Golden Glove winners.
Always battling along with Fitzgerald, Hara. We said Jay Mims on the sideline there.
He said we had to fight through it to win last weekend. He felt that they deserved 3 points, and he said we really had to grind it out, and I was pleased that we were able to get that done. Sometimes the games aren't as pretty, but if you can get 3 points, they're 3 points, and sometimes you just gotta get the hands dirty and just make it happen.
And it was especially sweet when your former player scored against you, but then ended up making the critical mistake at the end that led to the finish by Alex Bruce. He was very positive about that finish from Bruce. He had a lot of work to do still. Christensen trying to make his way through some Omaha traffic. Dawn Knudsen, the only real aerial threat for Omaha at set pieces. Alex Bruce really anticipated that poor back pass. He had to get there. And it was a quality finish, he said, in the near post. He said most forwards would maybe only put that away 3 or 4 out of 10 times. Considering Alex Bruce hasn't had a whole ton of playing time this season. He's a very good post finish from the former North Texas man.
Nearly a precarious moment there. Ended up being well handled and cleared away. Now we headed out for another owl throw. There's another look at Jay Mims, just raving about Alex Bruce.
Obviously missing JP Scarce tonight. We asked him what his options were to fill in that spot. He did mention Emir Alihazic, the real utility man for Jay Mims. He can play anywhere at fullback or in the midfield. JP Scarce, I think it's going to be a big physical miss. As you can see, Omaha have come out pretty physical though, trying to make a statement. Scarce could score as well.
Yeah, he's tied for the team lead.
Interesting to see where Connor Doyle goes tonight, whether he advances up the field or whether he plays a little deeper with the loss of skiers not there to cover for him.
Swinging ball in the middle. It's headed straight up by Lee.
John Harks was saying how dangerous Connor Doyle can be when on the ball. So much experience in England as well as the US. Ooh.
A lot of effort there from Malcolm to just keep that ball in play, and then
No help in the back of Tyler Pola. Didn't react though.
didn't seem intentional. Even looked like he uttered a little apology after the fact.
Just like many League One grounds, not much space past the touchline here in Greenville.
Here's Ali Hodzic. Plays out to Kamatani. Now Bawa sends it centrally, headed away.
Isaac Bawa had a couple of good quality chances in that first meeting against Greenville. Mostly from distance, but getting involved from that fullback spot. You see, we had such great attacking fullback options in Omaha last year with Viadair and Sosa. Here's a chance now.
Pushing for the shot, deflected away. Going off the back of Fricky. First 15 minutes, both teams have had some spells pushing forward.
This throwing coming in front of a good number of Omaha fans making the trip. A couple of dozen there.
That one bounces into the hands of Christensen. Looked like Kamatani went down, but no whistle blown. It's been a busy schedule as of late for Greenville, but it's starting to lax up once again. John Harks talked about how you don't get proper training sessions when your schedule is that tight. As this one, nearly a dangerous opportunity, still could be. Good move there from Schultz, though, to shake off the pressure for a moment.
I think if I'm correct, they're done with true midweek games for the rest of the way. For their last 6, though, on the road with some trips to Omaha, as well as Northern Colorado and Richmond. So Greenville will need to continue to play as they have been if they're going to want to make a real run at that #1 spot with that tough schedule down the stretch. You see that #1 spot so crucial.
Yeah.
Be able to host that championship game as well as a semi-final, and the bye obviously as well.
Well, the nice thing about not having to worry about those midweek games is, as Hark said, you can actually have training sessions, because when you have those midweek games, pretty much all you can do is mental stuff and focus on recovery. So they look really good in practice this week with a typical week of preparation. Here's Evans. Evans still going, a scuffed shot collected by Nuhu. Fenton Evans getting his first bit of action here. As we look at it again on the 11-11 systems replay.
Playing very well of late. Fenton Evans, useful either on the wing or cutting into the center there. 3 goals in his last 3 games as well as an assist. Former Fort Lauderdale man.
Pushing forward again once more. Two goals were scored in that Omaha game. Talked a little bit about that second goal. He mentioned Alex Bruce had to anticipate making that run. But the first goal that was scored in that game by Hugo Kamatani, Jay Mims called it one of his favorite goals of the season. Said it was awesome. It just took 3 passes. It was our kind of goal, up and down, quick, dynamic. And he mentioned that Hugo Kamatani, he needed a goal after getting into a bit of a goal-scoring funk. An excellent boost to a striker's confidence, especially a young striker's confidence.
John Harks kind of talked about it the other way with Labovitz. When you get on a run like this, you kind of expect him to score every game, but you can't do that. You can't get on him if he goes 1 or 2 games without a goal. Quiet so far tonight, though.
I can name maybe one player in the world that you can expect to score a goal every single game, so.
Terzaghi?
Yeah, Terzaghi. That's exactly who I was thinking of. That ball. A little bit of a awkward bounce there off of Brandon Fricky, but ultimately no harm comes of it. Nearly given away there with a pass going backwards. Omaha will take their time this go around. Try to find the right place to slip into. And they're not going to find it. And that's just the way you're going to expect these two teams to play. It's the ebbs and flow of the game. Two sides very familiar with each other and familiar with their success in League One.
Yeah, Omaha quite happy to secede possession to most of the teams they play. To get on the counter, Greenville have had a lot more possession this season and a lot more shots than they ever had in their League One history.
That's what I was saying when they are up a handful of goals against Tormenta. You always know that Greenville is going to be a defensive unit, but when they can score as many goals as they've had this season, look out.
John Harks was pretty honest about that game. He said they got over it quickly. John Harks is a very positive coach. He'd say he took the positives from that game. They moved. I'm not sure the bus ride home was fun.
Yeah.
From Tormenta, but after that, just got to move on. And I think it was a good thing that the next game was very quickly. Game against Richmond, obviously a team they had to perform well against. Got 2 balls on the field.
Whoops. That's the second game in a row I've had that happen. Out here trying to invent a new sport in USL League One. In essence, though, it's very similar to, as this ball gets crossed into the middle, new hoop. Excellent handwork. It's similar to what you looked at with Omaha last season. Sturdy defense, and then you just had some guys you could toss it to up top, make some things happen on the goal-scoring end.
You see how well the likes of Greg Hurst and Damia Viader are doing at the next level. You realize how talented that Omaha team was last season. Similar to North Texas when they won that first year. You weren't sure what they had, and now you see what a lot of those guys are, especially Ricardo Pepe. You understand just how talented that squad was.
It's definitely one of the pieces to the puzzle, is finding that diamond in the rough talent.
Corner for Union Omaha.
Finding it, and then I guess the next step would be honing it and improving it.
We had a good chat with Jay Mims earlier this season about how he likes to build his squad a lot different than John Harks. Jay Mims loves to get the guys fresh out of college. John Harks has used rookies here and there, but very sporadically. Jay Mims likes to use a mix of that and some league veterans as well as some guys from overseas.
Service comes in, headed away. Certainly pros and cons to both methods, of course. The veteran players, of course, you know they're more prepared to play in the pro game, but if you get all those college guys, then you kind of have the opportunity to mold them into what you're looking for in a player on a team.
And we talked to John Harks about Jacob Labovic. I asked him, what did he see in him? And he said he just saw that quality as a finisher and knew he just needed to get a little better coaching, find a role. It took him a while to get going, as we said in the pregame. He didn't do a whole lot in the first 5 or 6 games. And once he got started, he certainly hasn't stopped, really. So he just saw that finishing skill as a junior at Virginia Tech, kept tracking him, signed him, and so you've seen what's happened now.
And the rest is history.
On the plane from 2 years ago.
The first ever USL W League champion will be crowned tonight in front of a sold-out crowd. Minnesota Aurora FC hosts South Georgia Tormenta FC at 8 o'clock Eastern for the trophy. For more information on how to watch, go to uslwleague.com.
Greenville Liberty had a nice run.
Actually got knocked out by Tormenta.
He did. Tormenta looked very good.
Polak plays the ball centrally. No one really goes for it. Schultz picks it up. Lackluster pass that Evans still able to get on the end of. Walker with the cross into the middle. Labovitz somehow got his head on it. But the floating ball is up in the air and into the clutches of Rashid Nuhu.
Walker looked up. Evans with a good run. Just couldn't get his head on the right side of it. Nuhu there for the easy claim. A couple of games starting up here in 5 minutes or so. Northern Colorado at Chattanooga, as well as North Carolina at Tormenta. You see Chattanooga going with their assistant coaching staff tonight with the suspension of Jimmy Ableda. So we've been playing against his former player himself, Ayman Zayed. Should be an interesting one. And the two late games tonight, Charlotte at Tucson, as well as Richmond at Central Valley, one you'll be bringing us, Mark, later on tonight.
First ever meeting.
I think you and I both agreed that game could go either way. It could
that you don't know. You don't really know what to expect with the Fuego.
I think it's going to be 5-5.
Well,
it certainly has the potential to go that way if we get off to a fast start.
Never really know what to expect with Central Valley. Some games they just come out and it's brilliant. And then other games, teams find ways to break through them.
I think you could say that for 60 or 70% of the teams in this league.
Fair enough.
On a weekly basis, anyway.
I will give you that. Maybe hot, but they're still bringing the energy.
It's like the ones that join in with the singing, the ones that join in with the dancing, the ones that just kind of stand there and soak it all in.
Meza to Kamatani. Takes the shot! And it whiffs off the right side of the netting.
Nice little move there. It's one way to beat this Greenville defense is with quick passing. Getting the guys out of position. We've seen several coaches mention that. Fricky and Lee, very solid at those two center-back spots, but not the two most athletic players in the world. They can get turned around at times. That was one chance there. There's a look at John Harks in his new notebook, which we talked about with him this week.
Yeah, the Rocket notebook.
You're the one that asked him about it, so I'll let you.
Yeah, I mean, he always got a notebook in hand, so I figured I asked, I mean, how many notebooks do you go through in a year? And he said, I've already gone through 2 this season. And then he mentioned that just recently acquired a Rocket notebook where you can write down notes and then scan a QR code at the bottom of the page and it uploads it digitally and you can wipe off the pages and reuse it. Very interesting, I don't want to call it a device because I don't know if it's electronic, but it's got to have, it's some element of technology required to create such a thing.
I'll give John credit. I'm not sure, he's an old school, right? I'm surprised he even decided to give it a go. The wife probably showed him how to use it. He said he loves it.
And once you get it, you can save some money. As that ball gets sent in, deflected around. Kamatani didn't clip that quite right.
Couldn't tell from the camera, I know exactly where that was going to go, but certainly a good half chance there for Kamatani. It's always going to be a difficult shot on the volley. I'd love to have at least forced a save out of Christensen.
Okay, another look at it here on the 11-11 systems replay. As you were saying, I thought it was going towards goal given our perception. Bit of an optical illusion there. Sputtering in the opposite direction, though, of goal. Kamatani just not hitting it right. I'll tell you what, Ross. I'm already considering investing in one of those notebooks because I go through a ton of notebooks throughout the year as well.
John initially told us that you could erase them by putting them in the microwave. And I believed him for half a second until I did my research and realized that you could just wipe it off and then you don't have to worry about it.
Easy as that. That's even, I would say, even less effort. I guess if it microwaves all of them off at the same time, that'd be easier, but.
You never know with John. He's got such a dry sense of humor sometimes. I have to ask myself if he's kidding or not. Juba call for the foul there.
Here's a look at it again. 11-11 systems replay.
It's just clumsy. Extended the arms. Helped Venton Evans on his way and then kicked it at him. I think it was on purpose.
Don Smart holding up play and retreating. Now here's Lee. Down the center to Labovitz.
Lee wanted it back.
Schultz chipping it inside. Doesn't reach Labovitz. Headed away by Doyle. Back down to Schultz. Schultz back into the middle. And that'll win a corner kick. Gonna get a card. I would assume some words were said because I don't think there was any sort of collision there.
The referee has issued a caution to Union Omaha's number 27, Ryan Jiba.
So Ryan Jiba will get his third card of the season. It's our second card of the day.
Taken by your Greenville Triumph.
We have PNC's corner for kids for the Greenville Triumph.
Not sure what it was for.
Yeah, I didn't see anything. Service comes in. And Omaha's header takes it out. Another take it across though. Gavilanes whips it in. Now Walker didn't get the cleanest hit on that one. Get a whistle and a free kick in favor of the visitors. And it looks like we're going to get a hydration break here. Again, over 90 degrees, and it can get pretty humid too. top from bottom pretty much, but Omaha looking to close that gap once again. And we'll see how everything shapes up at the end of the day. There's still a lot of compact, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It's still very tight for the rest of the table. It's just one team that has slightly padded their lead.
A great run of late. Obviously that last loss was that one to Madison back in June. 5 wins and 2 draws since then, and obviously that tormented one in there, which really should have been a win.
Should have been a win, probably felt like a loss. Of course, like we said earlier, that's not exactly how John Harkes thinks of it. Remember, I'm saying, look, we scored 5 goals. That's something you should be very happy about. Talking to Harkes about this Omaha side, he said that they're a good team, very organized. So that ball's deflected out. Like you said earlier, he mentioned Doyle being very smart on the ball, and he said we have some ideas for who will slip into Skierce's spot, but we're going to have a keen eye on who that player will end up being. And he said we know what they could do. We've got to play with confidence.
Corner for Union Omaha.
Meanwhile, on the Omaha side of things, looking at Greenville as they prepare to take this corner, J. Mims said, we want a redo versus this team. That's what the players want. He said it was not a great performance the last time they met. Doyle providing the service. And ultimately, nothing to come of it. The reigning title holders visit in-state rivals as the USL on ESPN2 continues. Orange County SC looks for a late season surge against Sacramento Republic FC, September 18th at 5 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Be a fairly early one on the West Coast. Pollock, as the sun continues to set here at Legacy Early College. Evans with a step and a shot that had an awkward spin on it. And that's not the easiest moment because of the sun blaring in Nuhu's eyes and the awkward trajectory.
Well, that's why he tried not to catch it, Mark. He just sort of patted it down, take the spin out of it and the sting out of it, and then grab it. There was no real threat from any Triumph players on the rebound.
Just a moment of execution getting it done. Knutson will head it to Nuhu. Mims said in the last time they played Greenville, he mentioned that all the mental chips were against them in essence. They had that Sporting Kansas City game coming up in the Open Cup quarterfinal matchup. He said Greenville wanted payback for that final. And he said it was just our 3rd time at Werner Park this season. He said he wants them to express themselves on the bigger pitch here.
It's got to be difficult for Omaha players, especially with such a new team, as I mentioned earlier. Going from narrow pitch to a wide pitch. Not that this one is the widest in League One by any means, but it's a big difference. It takes a different game.
I think for them, it's more of this is where they're more comfortable at this point, and they're still trying to get adjusted to the narrowness of their home grounds, which they're definitely going to here in the second part of the season, and then it can play as more of an advantage. Kamatani plays in the middle, but it does not get past Evan Lee.
A difficult game on Tuesday at Forward Madison, are obviously playing a lot better over that second quarter of the season. They'll have a bunch of home games, 5 out of the next 7 after that. Actually 6 of the next 8, I should say.
So they'll really get acclimated, and then it'll be the opposing team that has to in essence, be the only ones getting used to it.
I think the three teams, you count Omaha's points per game, three teams at the top at the moment, Richmond, Greenville, and Omaha, are probably the three teams that everybody expected to be up there. Madison, a lot of coaches we spoke to earlier in the season knew how talented that squad was. They got off to a rough start, but they've really started to get it into gear now. Tormented Chattanooga obviously hanging around. Hailstorm have been playing a little better here and there. Just consistency, right? A lot of these teams just haven't been consistent enough to really threaten that top four. As we said, things could change here in a heartbeat in League One.
League chaos might as well be the motto of League One. Looks like Noe Meza getting his face checked. Maybe he got hit in the nose or something. Another whistle from our head official, Gerald Flores. Just recently passed the halfway mark in this League One season, so once we hit the halftime mark, we're gonna take a little bit of time to go over everything that's happened so far this season. A lot has developed and changed since we kicked things off in early April. We've also had some records been broken, some wild games take place.
Yeah, what's your goals per game, Mark? It's got to be up there. You got to
Yeah, I don't know.
that at some point in the season. You've had a 10 and an 8. I know that at least.
I've had 2 8s.
2 8s and a 10.
Yeah. I'll have to crunch the numbers at the end of the year. Ali Hodzic to Kamatani, but the flag will go up. I keep telling myself that I'm going to get a slew of nil-nils at some point in time to balance it out.
You jinxed it now. Omaha have looked the more dangerous team here, though, the last 10 to 15 minutes. Had some chances. Haven't really bothered Paul Christensen a whole lot just yet.
They're a pass or two off from really testing the scoreline.
Certainly plenty of positives for J. Mims to take into halftime. Knowing J. Mims, he won't say he's happy with a point if he does come out with a point here, but I'm sure he would be after the run that Greenville's been on.
And again, if you can just get points in these games while you're still behind in games played, that's awfully helpful. Already in the top half of the standings, as it is.
So Tyler Polak there, obviously a native of Nebraska, born in Lincoln. And there's a good chunk of Omaha fans up that way, or down that way. My Nebraska geography is not where it should be, Mark. I'll be honest. Although I did go to Omaha for the final. Learned that you could walk across the state line. I think it was to Iowa. My daughter was very excited to have one foot in each state on the bridge.
Oh, yes.
Ooh, nice. Just been a few inches away in Omaha from a quality chance here. And quite the final product. No goals in either of the other games so far. 12 minutes in. Chattanooga and Statesboro, Georgia.
Schultz got his head on it, but it's a bit aimless with where that ball deflected. Ultimately, it works in Greenville's favor. Here's Alex Touche.
Alex Touche will always go down in Omaha history for that famous US Open Cup goal in the waning seconds of that win over Chicago.
I got a couple of young guys on this team who have etched themselves into the history books in that regard.
Well, you see the reaction of the Omaha bench. They all stood up at that call. Don Smart, Jim Burrito's upset as well. You can look at it on the replay. We only have one camera at the moment tonight, so we apologize for some of the replays. Might not be as crisp as they would be with two. Well, it's not like Don Smart to lose his footing like that without some help. I will say that.
Definitely a light contact, though. Gavilanes. That ball will sky away from anybody within a reasonable realm of goal.
Very tight first half. 5 shots for Greenville, 2 for Omaha, none on target for the visitors yet. Possession in favor of Greenville, 56.5%. We'll get to all the full halftime stats during the break. Stick around for those as well as the highlights. We've seen a lot of League One games this season where it's been tight at the half and then one change or one tactic has made a big difference. As we see the 4th official there, 4 minutes.
Lots of time.
Off stoppage time here at the end of the first half.
Stoppage time brought to you by Engineered Sleep, the best handmade mattresses in town. Visit engineeredsleep.com for better sleep.
I need some better sleep tonight, Mark. Spent last night in airports and airplanes sleeping. I'll enjoy any mattress tonight.
The 4th official has indicated 4 minutes of stoppage time for the first half.
I'm trying to think of something to say to that, but I've got nothing. I'm coming up dry.
PNC Corners for Kids taken by your Greenville Triumph.
Greenville going to try and lull Omaha to sleep here in the last minutes of this first half.
Yeah, there you go. The pun wheels were turning in my head as we get this PNC's Corner for Kids. High service from Smart. Still a danger. Fenton on the end of it now. Knutson with some fierce defending and ultimately deemed illegal defending from our head official.
Yeah, good work there from Fenton. He's had a pretty quiet first half. So he's just playing in that defensive midfield role.
How's it look on your 11-11 systems replay? So another free kick opportunity. Now, is that John Harks on that tractor in the TIFO?
It is. That's I think it was from last season being brought out. So you got to make use of that fancy TIFO hole.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any. I think we've seen maybe one new one this year, perhaps.
Gavilanes with a service into the middle. Still about Schultz. Can't bring it down. Doyle will have his way with it.
Oh dear.
The emergency button getting smashed there by Fricke.
So it came up and bit him for a second. Got away with it though. Nate Schultz with a half chance. Not the kind of spot you want to see your fullback in. Just couldn't get that ball to fall for him.
He taps it back to Doyle. Maybe one more chance here for Omaha. Looking to stroll it forward.
I think both coaches will be relatively okay with the way their teams have played in the first half. Been a bit of a chess match between these two sides. Neither team has been really able to break down either team's back line, as perhaps we would have expected, obviously, other than that tormentor game. Greenville's defense has been very solid as well as Union Omaha's.
Sort of what they've hung their hats on throughout their time in League One.
Yeah, but we've got 3 new starters this year. Knutson returns.
Well, when your staff and your coach stay the same and you're looking for the same kinds of players and enforcing the same kind of system, then you sort of keep that mantra even if the faces change.
Yeah, we talked to Jay Mims about this earlier this season. He knows what he wants from his players, and he's got an eye for talent. There's no doubt about it.
Schultz bouncing it across. Fenton Evans trying the curling effort. He had Don Smart at the top of the 18. Thought maybe that would have been a good spot to take it, but sometimes you just got to let it fly. And There's the halftime whistle here, scoreless and rather threatless between these two for the most part. Two defensive juggernauts strutting their stuff in that regard. We're going to step aside for our break. When we come back, we've got some halftime content coming your way, brought to you by the Oxford Barber Company. But it's Goose Eggs after 45. We'll see you on the other side.
We offer a full array of dental treatment, and what that provides you as a patient is you're able to come to one place and get comprehensive care under one roof.
I've always been greeted with a smile. They know me when I call. I trust them.
We'd love to see you at Wood Creek Dental. Visit us at woodcreekdental.com.
The unstoppable spirit lives inside all of us. For Matt and Lisa Kuhn, it's fueled by family, with a business backed by an unbreakable bond and a passion to innovate. They've become leaders in last-mile transportation. That's why First Horizon is proud to celebrate unstoppable spirits like Matt and Lisa. From the first stop to the final destination, we use our understanding to keep our clients on their unique path to success.
When you donate blood with the Blood Connection, you're helping to save lives right here in your community. Donate blood with the Blood Connection, your community blood center.
Think big. Something life-changing. I'm talking education. Let's get inventive. Blow things up in a good way. Do it for 20 years? Wake up and education has received billions in funding. Who does all this? If you've ever played one of these or these, that would be you. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome to the Oxford Barber Company halftime show. Last weekend, we passed the halfway point in this season, the fourth year of USL League One soccer. So Ryan Rose is going to take us through everything that's happened throughout the season thus far.
Midway through the 2022 season, here are the goals and saves of the year so far. The first goal of the month, Rafa Minsigan crosses to Mo Espinoza. This is against Richmond. This got 45% of the fan vote. First goal of the season for Mo Espinoza. And early season good form for Chattanooga. The save of the month for April came for Greenville against Chattanooga. There's Paul Christensen. 85th minute, Greenville leading 1-0. The header from Rafa Minsigan and a left paw from Christensen. That kept it 1-0, and Greenville went on to win. That got 37% of the fan vote. Interesting. Here's the May goal of the month. It's against Tormenta. This is Central Valley. Look at the service there from Maxi Schenfeld, leading Viljan Bijev. 42nd minute, he gets a brace, his third brace across all competitions. Viljan Bijev, a second goal. That got 55% of the fan vote. He has 5 goals this season, but those braces include Open Cup as well. The save of the month was for Chattanooga. You see a theme here, Carlos Avilés against Greenville. Aaron Walker's header just chipped away, right over the bar. What fast reflexes from Carlos Avilés. 44% of the fan vote. Avilés has 22 saves this season. We go to the June goal of the month. What a shock. It's Chattanooga again. Mo Espinoza from the set piece. Wow. 81st minute. That was the first goal of the match at Fuego. They went on to win 2-0. 47% of the fan vote. By the way, Mo Espinoza, 2 goals of the month, 2 goals this year. The June save of the month is Fuego against Chattanooga. Ophic Antman, check this out. Oh, they reaches to the right side. Christensen with the left paw, Antman with the right paw. 44 saves for Antman this season, but they did go on to lose that match. You saw why. One of those goals from Mo Espinoza. Mid-year reinforcements. This is a theme. A lot of teams have grabbed guys here mid-year to help them out. Raiko Arozarena traded for Phil Brino from Tampa Bay, kind of traded, a double loan situation. 2 huge saves against Tormenta, and then the fans at the end in the flock asking him how to say his name. It was his first match. This was last weekend. Fun moment there. North Carolina, Shaq Adams, loaned down from Charleston, wasn't getting a lot of minutes, so North Carolina is going to bring him in, and he's going to play a lot. We have to go back a couple of years to when he played at Tucson to give you some footage on his impact. He's only played a couple matches so far for North Carolina. 12 goals in 40 matches played for Tucson, so a known quantity coming in to help North Carolina. Charlotte picked up Gabriel Oberton. Here's a guy who spent time in the Premier League, Newcastle United, Manchester United, Ligue 1 in France, Bordeaux, Wigan. He's back in Charlotte, played a little bit last year on the championship side, already has a goal and an assist, and will help Charlotte out. Tucson, Donnie Toya came in, made an immediate impact, some MLS experience, 4 different MLS sides. Toya was on the original 2012 Tucson team. 2 goals, which were the only 2 goals Tucson had scored in his 3 matches, both 1-1 draws. And then the latest maneuver, a loan from, kind of a trade rather, from Northern Colorado to Richmond. It's Ethan Vanacore-Decker, 2020 All-League second team, 3 goals and 6 assists in 2020, led the league in assists. Richmond feels like he can come in, make an immediate impact. He was the first goal scorer for Northern Colorado this year. You can see a lot of things happening in the first half of the season, a big second half coming up.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals. I'm on a routine.
And their first of the season, and that's full time. The old guard with a new trophy. Orange County wins the USL Championship final.
Hi there, I'm Lena. My owner, Brooke, she's earning her degree through Anderson University Online. She can access her high-quality classes anywhere, anytime, which gives us plenty of time to play ball, or throw frisbee, or tug on some rope, or practice our human skills. Discover AU online and start earning your degree today. Dogs like me approve.
Scoreless at halftime here, but let's take a look at some of the notes and news from around the league. First off, this past week, I think it's really our first real big trade in USL League One. Ethan Vanacore-Decker, you and Omaha fans know what he could do going over to the Richmond Kickers.
Yeah, obviously a big part of Omaha's success last season wasn't perhaps getting enough player time for his liking with the Hailstorm, and traded for an international spot to the Kickers, where he'll certainly feature in that midfield for Darren Sawatsky, at least for sure, while Jonathan Bolaños is out.
Well, as we look at Team of the Week, 3 Greenville players, including I mean, if you score 5 goals in a week, I think you've pretty much written in player of the week in your own handwriting at that point in time.
No, for sure. And Kazaya Sterling there at the bottom. We'll get to him in a second. Already found the net tonight for Tormenta, the former Spurs youth man.
As we take a pivot to that scoreboard, as you referenced, the only goal that's happened so far today is that penalty from Kazaya Sterling, who, when he's playing in that Statesboro ground, it seems like he's just playing on different grass from everybody else.
Yeah, it took him a little while to get going, just like Labovitz, but yeah, been scoring a lot lately, 4 goals now. And North Carolina FC really struggling over these last few games.
As we take a look at the upcoming schedule, got a couple more games tonight. So if you were looking to stay up late here on the East Coast and watch some more soccer, you got 2 choices. You've got Central Valley and Richmond and Tucson in the Independents, and then a full-on week of games coming up this next week. But we're going to step aside when we come back, highlights and stats, then the second half here on ESPN+.
At Stretch Zone, their certified practitioners perform each stretch, which isolates and stabilizes those muscles. They do all the work, you get all the benefit. Whether you're looking for increased performance or greater mobility, Stretch Zone can help you realize your goals with their stretching sessions.
I've really found a difference in the flexibility in my knees and my walking pace and whatnot, so I'm very pleased with the progress in 2 weeks.
Come experience the difference today. Stretch Zone, Greenville and Clemson.
The unstoppable spirit lives inside all of us. For Matt and Lisa Kuhn, it's fueled by family, with a business backed by an unbreakable bond and a passion to innovate. They've become leaders in last-mile transportation. That's why First Horizon is proud to celebrate unstoppable spirits like Matt and Lisa. From the first stop to the final destination, we use our understanding to keep our clients on their unique path to success.
When it comes to banking, would you rather be a customer or an owner? At Greenville Heritage Federal Credit Union, our members are owners. We don't have shareholders, so our members enjoy lower fees and loan rates and higher deposit rates. And contrary to popular opinion, it doesn't matter where you work. You can join if you live, work, worship, or attend school in Greenville County. A minimum deposit of $5 in a savings account gives you access to a world of benefits. Visit greenvilleheritage.com for more information on how to join. Federally insured by NCUA.
Think big. Something life-changing. I'm talking education. Let's get inventive. Blow things up in a good way. Do it for 20 years? Wake up and education has received billions in funding. Who does all this? If you've ever played one of these or these, that would be you. Yeah, thank you.
Let's put the final touches on this Oxford Barber Company halftime show. Mark Schoenster alongside me, Ross Davenport. We've got highlights, we've got stats, and then we've got another 45 minutes of action here. But before we get to that 45 minutes of action, let's play the recap game here as we step aside and look at the Palmetto State Home Mortgage halftime highlights. Not a ton of goal-scoring opportunities, but we mentioned sort of a chess match between these two teams, this being the biggest chance of them all.
Yeah, that was the best stop of the half by either goalkeeper. Rashid Nuhu had to get his hand up strongly there and palm that one away from Aaron Walker.
As this game went on, both teams just trying to break the other defensive side down, but if you know anything about Union Omaha and the Greenville Triumph, it's that they're both rather stellar on the defensive end.
Benton Evans had some moments in this first half. He just really couldn't get any quality chances away. That was a decent strike that kind of scuffed it with his weaker left foot.
And the interesting thing about this is that we're seeing these Greenville Triumph opportunities and these chances that they were able to conjure up, but Union Omaha, for many stretches of this game, looked like the more potent side to score. They just couldn't put it on frame.
Yeah, you see they were a couple of inches away from sort of that. They were looking for that perfect pass, perhaps. This cross here from Walker. Labovitz just couldn't quite get enough of the ball to direct it on target. Labovitz had a relatively quiet first half, which I'm sure Jay Mims is very happy to see. 5 goals in his last 2 games for the rookie.
As we look at the halftime stats brought to you by Warehouse Services, Inc. For the possession distribution, honestly, in some cases, this is better than usual for Omaha.
Yeah, for sure, but that no shots on target, there has to be a slight concern. We'll see if Jay Mims waits much longer to make any changes. Luis Gill, obviously a quality presence on the bench. He's been training with the team for a couple of weeks. Perhaps not quite ready to jump in for a half. We'll see how long Jay Mims waits to pull the trigger. Also Alex Bruce, as well as Yoskar Galvan on the bench and Dion Akoff. A few offensive options. We'll let you know of any changes for either side. I don't see any immediately for Greenville. See, they've got Jesus Ibarra, as well as Nico Brown, Alex Cox-Ashford. No Lucas Coutinho tonight. We're not sure what happened there. Not listed on the injury report. On the bench last game. Perhaps just a victim of numbers and Noah Frankie getting healthy.
Well, best 18 players make the 18th, so, I mean, we don't have any answers to this question, but surely it ought to be given his consistent starting role typically.
No, John Harkes has always wanted to play the guys who are playing well in training.
We're underway here for the second half. Both sides trying to break through the deadlock. And we'll see if either are capable of doing so. No halftime substitutions to bring to you. You mentioned before the half ended that sometimes those make or break games, but it seems like neither coach is ready to switch up the personnel just yet.
One thing to remember for Omaha, they do have a game on Tuesday. So you'd expect perhaps Jay Mims to pull the trigger first from the bench if he felt like he was ready to do so. Give some guys a rest in preparation for that game on Tuesday. That one at Forward Madison. Should be a nice crowd there for that one. The weather started to warm up in Madison. Those crowds have been getting 4,000 or 5,000 there.
Yeah.
Remember, I went to the game, Greenville game up there in the first year. They had 4,000 on a Wednesday night. Great set of fans there in Madison, as with these two teams as well. I mentioned the Union Omaha fans making the long trip. Saw them on that far right-hand corner.
And they're breaking their regular season attendance records with that Tucson game, and it looks like they're aspiring to do it again with their next home game. I believe it's singles night, so. If you haven't bought a ticket yet, and you're a eligible person, then
they're going to put you all in one section? Is that how that's going to work? They're going to rotate, sit you next to somebody for 5 minutes, and then switch you next to somebody else?
If you get matched up with someone and Omaha scores a goal, you got to go, all right. We got to go on a date at some point in time. There's something here. This is a good exchange, Malcolm, but the flag goes up. The timing of the run, not quite on the dot with his teammates. Still a decent exchange. Another look at Tyler Pollock. We'll see if they can find a way to create space and get it to Jacob Labovitz. We talked about in the highlights that a rather quiet first half of action. I talked to John Harkes about Labovitz this week. Of course, he's kind of a hot topic right now, but I wanted to talk to him about the volume of chances, quality chances that Labovitz has been getting game by game. Of course, that first 45 minutes, a bit of an exception with the run of form him and Greenville have been on as of late. But he said that I saw how often he was finishing in training, and one adjustment I told to my guys as Labovitz makes the run here, gets by the keeper. Labovitz squares it back inside, but can't get past the defender, Dalton Knutson.
It's the first time we've really seen anybody get behind a back four. Labovitz just didn't have quite enough pace, and by the time he got to it, Omaha defenders were back there in numbers. Good work by Nuhu to force him wide, not take him down. The keeper, you're always tempted there to make contact.
Fenton, service in the middle also, trying to connect with Labovitz, and the contact will earn a foul. I was just about to say this, and then it happened, is that Harkes wanted his players to release the ball a little bit earlier when getting it to Jacob Labovitz, and lo and behold, there it was there.
Yeah, the timing was off earlier this season. They were saying he was making the runs too early. Ball was just a little wide. That was enough, but you see that Omaha defenders getting back there in numbers, 5 guys inside the box, and just the one target for Labovitz to look for, but an encouraging ball there.
Yeah, if you're an Owl fan, you like how quickly they got numbers back in the box and how Rashid Nuhu handled that. There's going to be a bit of a moment of panic, especially when a striker gets past the keeper. Got it done. But they saw in that Chattanooga game when they went to CHI Memorial Stadium, Don Smart connected with Labovitz, made the pass a little bit earlier, and the rest has been kind of history since then.
Mentioned W League earlier tonight. Tormentor have taken a 1-0 lead early in that championship game.
Trying to pull off I wouldn't tell you if it was an upset or not, but in front of a packed home crowd in Minnesota, it would upset the fans that were there for certain.
It's a long way to go as well. Christensen was a little casual drifting back there. Perhaps it was a deceiving angle. It looked like a little closer to the top corner than he expected.
The energy is palpable.
That look sums up the first half. We're into the second half now, guys.
Already had a moment or two here in the first 5 minutes. Gavilanez pushing forward again for Greenville. Here's Evans to Gavilanez. Able to get it out rather quickly. And here he is on the other side. Alan Gavilanez trying to get by Knutson. That's an experienced center back. Doing well there to keep the wily winger in place. That one glancing off of Knutson, and we'll go out for a corner kick. Brought to you by PNC's Corner for Kids.
Knutson and Kamatani disagree with the decision. It looked like a pretty clear-cut corner from our angle. They were saying it got a touch off that man, Alan Gavilanez.
Yeah, I did. Here's Gavilanez once again. Back to Fenton. Service is in, and it's headed upward. Pollock puts it back into the mix. And that'll be a free kick for Omaha. Don Smart getting a yellow card here, his 6th of the season.
The referee has issued a caution to Greenville's number 10.
Fifth Third reminds you to shop local with our upcoming 12 Days of Christmas in July promotion. Visit the Greenville Triumph website for a list of local business participants and discounts.
Take another look at here and see what happened. Yeah, Smart with a high foot. Just a little clumsy, perhaps the card a little harsh. So edging up a couple more now for Don Smart. He would be suspended. You get to 8 yellow cards, you are suspended. You do get one taken away for going 5 matches without one, something Don Smart has yet to do. He literally has one almost every 3 or 4 games. It's back-to-back ones now, though, for the veteran from Jamaica. Former forward Madison man, obviously. John Harks talked earlier this season about what a great campaign he'd had so far. Very comfortable on and off the pitch. He's in great shape. His family life's doing well. Just had a baby recently.
I was saying go feel good, play good. Schultz with a wide amount of space. Plays it wide to Smart. Smart's ball just over the goal line. So it'll be a goal kick. Don't miss a minute of the action in 2022. Whether your club is on the road or at home, catch nearly every second of USL League One action on ESPN+, the home to the USL, MLS, La Liga, the Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com. Just trying to find Jacob Labovitz. John Hark said it takes time to get adjusted as a pro, and you need patience as a coach to let it happen, let the acclimation occur. He said it was a matter of time, but it's just as hard once you get into a goal-scoring groove to keep it. He said it can kind of work as a writer's block in an essence, as sort of a comparable thing in a different field of work. Especially when you're a
PNC Corners for Kids,
rookie player.
By your Greenville Triumph.
Certainly going to be more prone to slumps of that sort. As we get another PNC's corner for kids. Don Smart looking to connect with Polak there. And he gets leveled there. Or actually, he levels Connor Doyle. You would have thought the way those two came into it that Polak would have been the one to go down. But instead, it's the captain who takes to ground, and Polak will get his second yellow card of the season.
In the 55th minute.
Once again, our head official, Gerald Flores. So 10 minutes into this one. At least in the second half. And Greenville have been the testing side thus far. But here's an opportunity on the other end. A tight angle shot from Kamal Malcolm.
Yeah, Christensen went down like he was worried it might go inside his far post. I thought perhaps he got a touch on it, but referee Flores said no.
You mentioned it earlier, Tyler Polak from Lincoln, Nebraska. Playing against the closest League One team to home. Of course, he's been in Greenville now for 4 years, so probably well integrated into South Carolina at this point in time. Schultz between him and Fenton, but Noe Meza able to win it back for Omaha. Brito does well to hold it up. So I've talked about Jacob Labovitz on the Greenville side of things. I had to ask Jay Mims what they plan to do to slow this guy down. He's the hot hand. And he said, he also got a goal on us. So we know he's powerful. He's going to come in confident and be ready. He said, but our center backs, our goalkeeper, they have pride too, and they want to prove themselves. They know he's in form. And they got beat by him last time. So they have a lot of respect and a little extra motivation to lock him down and make it happen. He said we had similar motivation when we were up against Garrett McLaughlin and Olex Anderson. As Don Smart camping outside the 18, sends it to Labovitz, heads it into the center. And the whistle's going to blow anyway. Nothing was going to happen. They're able to slow down McLaughlin and Anderson, as I was saying, and so he thinks that his defensive unit is capable of locking down Jacob Labovitz. They did so in the first half and really only gotten free once or twice here.
He's one of those guys, though, that just sort of drifts in the channels between the fullbacks and the center backs, and has found opportunities this season when you thought he was out of games and suddenly popped up with 2 or even 3 goals. Certainly been dealt with well tonight, though, by that Omaha backline.
Omaha looking to get their first substitution underway. Rossi mentioned that they got to think about rotating legs. They've got the shortest of turnarounds coming up here. Usually, if you have a quick turnaround, it's a Wednesday game. They've got one on Tuesday. And Madison isn't playing this weekend, so they're sitting and waiting for Omaha to roll into town.
It really limits the training time. You know, they're probably not going to get back from this game till late Saturday night if they are leaving tonight. And you're going to leave again Monday. Most teams obviously like to get in the day before a game. So it really limits you to just perhaps a light session tomorrow afternoon in Omaha, and then that's about it training-wise. Maybe another one Monday before you leave or when you get to Madison.
Smart goes down. It'll be a free kick for Greenville, and that substitution will take place. It'll be the end of the evening for Hugo Kamatani. Dion Akoff will come in his stead.
Akoff, who had the winning penalty against the Chicago Fire.
And then a second substitution. Alex Bruce, the hero of their last game, will come in for Kamal Malcolm. These substitutions brought to you by Spinks.
2 straight changes up top. Not yet, though. I guess we're going to have the free kick first. Interesting.
The hold for a little bit longer. Evans down that right-hand side. Can tap it back to Schultz. Opts to try and play it into the middle. Wins the corner kick.
PNC Corners for Kids taken by
Those Omaha subs will have to wait a little bit longer. There'll be another PNC's corner for kids.
Halftime in Statesboro 1-0 to Tormenta, thanks to that Kazea Sterling penalty kick. Gavalanis gets ready to swing this one in.
Here's the service. And a whistle blows. Unfair contact in the middle. And Nuhu will get to take the free kick, and now those substitutions can come into play.
Substitution
Dion Akoff for Hugo Kamatani and Alex Bruce for Kamal Malcolm. These substitutions brought to you by Spinks. Bruce only played about 70 minutes this season. It's his 6th appearance of the year. And a couple more appearances in minutes for Dion Akoff.
Leaving the match, number 10.
Just straight changes up top here for Jay Mims. He looks to try and get something going.
30 minutes to find a goal. Maybe we'll see Luis Gill as this game wears on, because I mentioned before the game that perhaps if they needed an extra bit of juice that they could throw him in.
Still waiting for their first shot on target tonight. We're over an hour in.
At this time, we would like to
Definitely not
announce
ideal.
But Zero safe driver of the match. Tonight's winner is Scott Tinch. Congratulations.
And again, they're missing the presence of JP Skiers. Jay Min said we have a couple different guys who have stepped up throughout the year in Skiers' spot. Said Yoskar Galvan has been good at pressing from that spot. Amir Ali Hadzic is sort of their utility guy who can plug in anywhere. Giovanni and Dion, other guys who could fill into that spot. So he wasn't too stressed out about it. He said we've got a lot of options. So Akoff, though, going to plug in up top instead.
Yeah, only 16 goals in 13 games for Omaha coming into this one.
Puts them dead last in the league, unfortunately, for Omaha. Of course, have the disadvantage of less games played.
8 of those goals have come in 3 games. 3-0 win over Fuego, the 3-2 win over Tormenta. Obviously the 2-1 win last week. Obviously when you lose the amount of talent that they did, especially offensively from last season, it's always going to take a while for things to get going. Jay Mims mentioned obviously the signing of Carlos Gil. He said there's perhaps another couple in the pipeline coming up here in the next 2 weeks or so. That guy's training with them.
We're getting some Greenville substitutions warming up here in the coming minutes.
Obviously with League 2 getting into the playoffs now, there's some options there perhaps with guys that are done with college.
Number 11, Jesus Ibarra.
So 2 substitutions for Greenville.
Leaving the match,
Jimmy Filerman coming in for Tyler Polak, and then Jesus Ibarra will slip in for Don Smart.
Jimmy Filerman. Leaving the match, number 3, Tyler Polak.
Straight swap at left back, Filerman for Polak. Filerman had that great assist on the 3rd goal last weekend. Jesus Ibarra, he can play either in that spot just behind Labovitz or out wide. We'll see where he slots in. Perhaps Evans moves in. Looks like he may just be going straight into the spot vacated by Smart. Barra's been a little banged up of late.
Those substitutions brought to you by Spinks. That one will go out and will be a goal kick. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesday nights at 7 Eastern. Plus, hear live matches from the USL, MLS, English Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the SXM app. There's Hartz. The yellow card was given to the Greenville bench. Happened moments earlier. Weren't able to catch it when it happened. I saw Hartz there. Again, clutching that notebook. He has a couple things he writes down before the games, and then, of course, he takes notes during the match. He said, well, I'll take notes on what we're doing well, what we're doing poorly, and the tendencies of the other team. And he also has a couple of bullet point reminders for him because you can get emotional during the game, so having a couple of basic principle things that they want to accomplish on a given night in there to remind him of what they're looking for helps him, something he learned while working under Bruce Arena. Here's Ibarra. Pulling that one out of his back pocket. Awkward release, but can't argue with the result of the accuracy there.
Got a decent amount of power in it. All things considered with the outside of his right foot. Spinning. Ooh, had to be careful. Got down quickly. Really just only had that one quality save from that Walker free kick so far.
And a look on your 11-11 systems replay.
Greenville's 8th shot, 5th on target tonight.
Just trying to break through here. Ibarra, one of the substitutes. Sends the service inside, and Knutson once again nodding it away. Now Lee. Right down the middle of Labovitz, and he's coming from an offside position.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating night for both front lines. Obviously, and the back lines have had a lot to do with that. Timing's just been a little off with all of them. Here's a chance, though, perhaps.
Ibarra working 1-on-3. More backup coming for Omaha. He's able to find himself to the left side, though. Here's Walker. Greenville been the aggressors for the majority of this second half. Schultz sends the cross inside and headed away by Doyle for another PNC's Corner for Kids.
PNC Corners for Kids taken by your
7th of the
Greenville
night for Greenville. Really haven't managed to do a whole lot with any of them, though. Again, not a team known particularly for their set-piece prowess.
Here's the service. And booted away. Touch from Ibarra brings it down. Still Greenville. Trying an incredibly difficult cross, practically 180ing and letting it fly.
That was poor from Ibarra. Yeah, Gavilanes looking to make the run into the box. Perhaps a little pass around the back door might have been the better option. Well, anything was a better option than that. Let's be honest.
Well, talking about being better, Omaha feel there's some momentum turning their way now as they're approaching the halfway mark of games played in their season, being the only team that hasn't crossed that threshold yet. J. Mims said that he likes where the team's at. He said ever since we had a great week of training before the North Carolina game, we felt good, and now the wins are starting to turn up to prove that feeling. You mentioned that this game against Greenville, big one standings-wise, and they're amped for it. Defensively, they've done very well to keep the Greenville attack at bay for the most part. Now just looking to break through offensively at one point.
Forgot to mention Hailstorm and the Red Wolves at halftime there in Chattanooga. No shots on goal for the Hailstorm in the first half. 3 for Chattanooga. As well as the edge in possession, 61.7 to 38. See if anybody can find the breakthrough goal there, just like in this one.
Ibarra. Filerman gives it right back. A fantastic assist on Saturday of last week. Here he is now. Filerman looking for the chip into the middle. An effort that won't come to any fruition.
It was a great goal. I wasn't sure whether John Harkes was going to like that goal because they were obviously trying to hold on to that 1-0 lead, and Filerman went to take it to the corner. Got triple teamed and then suddenly emerged through those 3 players and hit a lovely ball across to Labovitz, which has obviously put the game away. It was one of those ones I wasn't sure if John Harkes was going to be happy with what Jimmy Filerman did, but obviously it ended up in a positive manner.
Oh, and he raved about it. He was so happy about it.
He did. He thought it should have been considered for goal of the week just for the work by Filerman. Great physical presence. Lovely little touch. Some history at wing back. This is Jimmy Filerman.
Akoff with a cross in the middle. That clearance satisfactory. Another substitution on the docket. Looks like Luis Gill is getting himself ready to go in this game. We thought maybe we'd see him, the new acquisition. So we'll hold our breath and see when that one will come into play. Ross, I got to tell you, we saw a couple of those names thrown in that halftime piece that Ryan took us through. And the fact of the matter is we're getting some significant veteran players coming into League One this season. Like, I mean, we're talking MLS players, like Miguel Ibarra has been here since the beginning of the season. Got another couple of guys that are along those lines. Gabriel Oberton, who played at Manchester. So it's really interesting to see that this league has grown to the point where you can welcome a guy like that.
Yeah, Luis Gill, his MLS career never really took off, went overseas. Last playing for Valley United in Nisa. Obviously had some documentation issues with certain players and haven't played of recent. A nice little pickup by Omaha. I wondered if anybody was going to add Luis Gill. It did turn out to be Omaha. Jay Mims was saying you can see what a classy player he is. You can say form is temporary, class is permanent, he said, and Luis Gill has a ton of class. We'll get to see it here for 15 minutes or so at the end of this one. See if he can find a bit of magic and give Omaha perhaps a chance at 3 points.
Greenville looking to take the lead here and claim those 3 points themselves. Won't happen. Omaha been a brick wall defensively. Ibarra trying to slip it through. They made contact with Labovitz, but he couldn't bring it in.
Yeah, just a little too much pace on that through ball. Labovitz a half step behind it.
So we got some substitutions earlier in this game for Greenville. When they played Richmond, they didn't make a sub until the 75th minute, which is not typical for John Harkes. And so we're getting a whistle blown here. Looks like we're going to get another hydration break. Again, it's a 90-plus in Greenville and incredibly humid. And there's a look at Luis Gill, just waiting for his moment. He might be able to get it after the hydration break finishes. So, what an opportunity for him to get back into the swing of things. And we'll take a look at his resume here. This guy's played for the national team. He's played in the MLS and has scored several goals in the MLS. And he has playoff experience on top of that. I mean, and this is a massive acquisition for Omaha.
It is. You can see there the amount of appearances for Real Salt Lake. Also played for Orlando City, the Colorado Rapids, Dynamo. And then things, as you mentioned, just kind of fizzled out. Obviously a great career with Real Salt Lake, but now looking to get things going. He's not, he's only 28. Doesn't turn 29 till November. Perhaps on contract for the rest of the season. You'd have to think with a club option perhaps for next year, unless he gets a better deal somewhere else. But he's got to prove it. He didn't do a whole ton of stuff in Nice. Obviously, there was some real problems with that team in Mesa, Arizona, Valley United. Luis Gill is the real deal. There's no doubt about it. It's a chance for him to show what he's got, perhaps for a championship side or even an MLS team.
So we are going to get those substitutions here in a moment. Yoskar Galvan also getting himself ready to go.
Substitution presented by States for Union Omaha.
Come in for Emir Alihadzic. Meanwhile, Luis Gill will make his way in as well. These substitutions brought to you by Spinks. So here comes Gill. Jay Mims said that he was one of the best players in the country at one point, and he said, granted, that was nearly a decade ago. And like you said, he said form is temporary, class is permanent. We want to get him into good form. He mentioned if we can bring out the best in him, he'll bring out the best in other guys. He even cited how the Crew, Columbus Crew, signed Cucho recently, and suddenly all the other strikers on the Crew have also started playing better with the extra firepower in Cucho, and the confidence grows for all the guys around them, so maybe they're looking to replicate that experience here with Luis Gill.
He wasn't at 18 when he made his MLS debut. Shows you what a protege he was. He scored 11 goals in all of his time in MLS.
Certainly a helpful asset, both as just a player himself, but also as a resource to some of these young guys. Even though, like you mentioned, he's not exactly super old himself, but definitely chock full of experience. Here's Brito with the curling effort. That's the biggest moment for Omaha today. Testing Paul Christensen.
Struck reasonably well by Brito. We've seen him score some spectacular goals this season. Christensen saw it well, though. Got down early enough and palmed it away. Certainly the most work he's had to do tonight.
When it comes to the Greenville side of how they do substitutions, Harks said we don't do anything impulsive. In that Richmond game, he thought they were playing really well, and then the decision came to give some players a break. Like, of course, Nate Schultz, who has played so many minutes this season. But definitely he runs by the motto of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
See if we see Noah Frankie at some point tonight. Here's Gill now.
Brito, nice touch inside. Look to get it back to him. Omaha looking for the penalty call, won't get it. Akoff, he gets taken down just inside the 18 as well, but maybe he went down too lightly. That's a good find. Gill. I'll play it back. Here's a service in the middle. It's headed straight up into the air. How about that kick from Benton Evans?
You see Omaha pushing bodies forward now. Jay Mims not going to be satisfied with the point here. He wants 3.
If nothing else, don't want to leave without a fight.
No, he knows what a statement win it would be if they could pull this one off. How well Greenville are playing at the moment.
Try to get bodies up the pitch. Greenville let Christensen take this one. we were talking about mid-season acquisitions with Jay Mims, he said that as far as the kind of guys he's looking for in player acquisition in the middle of the year, he said, I'm not looking for 17th or 18th spot guys. He says they need to be quality both on and off the pitch. And they're also looking for versatility, experience. Gill checks off those boxes, and here he is now. Some wily moves. Gets the cross into the middle. Ultimately falling into the hands of Christensen, but Akoff right by him.
Alex Bruce playing a little game here.
Bruce going to get a yellow card for it. His first of the season.
Referee Flores certainly in a no-nonsense mood tonight.
The referee has
perhaps
issued a
with
caution
just a
to
warning.
Union Omaha's number 16, Alex Bruce, in the 80th minute.
The Englishman, Alex Bruce. Coming from Gateshead. So we've crossed the 80-minute mark. 10 more plus stoppage time to go for one of these two teams to break the ice here. Schultz sends the cross in, and a whistle blows again.
It's just been a lot of contact in the box, and referee Flores is just not allowing it to happen. Be a little frustration for Jacob Labovitz. Hasn't been able to find himself much space tonight.
Catching word that Minnesota Aurora scored in the W League Finals, so looks like that one's going to be an interesting matchup all the way to the end.
I do love their jerseys, Mark.
Yeah. You gotta love the jerseys. You gotta love the attendance they've had all season. And I'm sure they've gotta love the team they've got at their disposal. They've made it to the final.
Jamie Smith.
So we're gonna get a Greenville substitution. Schultz is gonna come out. Typically plays as fullback, and Jamie Smith will plug in. More of a center back, but I think they like his flexibility along that back line, so potentially just fills right into that spot. They've been wanting to get him minutes, and John Hark said it's been hard because Brandon Fricke and Evan Lee have been so good. You can't really take either of those guys out of the game. Cross comes in. Ooh, that was just wide.
Yeah, I don't think this is a spot to throw Noah Franke in there under pressure in what would be his first outing of the season. I think not that Jamie Smith has played a ton more with his injury situation. But John Harks did mention this week he's very comfortable in a lot of different positions. Jamie Smith can play defensive midfield as well as fullback and center back.
Just finished his third week of training, so his conditioning starting to catch up with him as well. So, well, Franke, I mean, still hasn't seen any game time yet, like he mentioned.
His dad, Dean Smith, manager of Norwich, was visiting earlier this season. Obviously now deep into preseason, getting ready for first year back in the championship.
We're gonna look at this again on the 11-11 systems replay.
Bruce Gill's first foul in USL League One. Of course, he's protesting.
As you do. Akoff getting escorted to a corner or a wall. Here's Doyle. Gets it to Gill. Now Brito. We're going to chip that one in the middle. It's going to be a tall order to find a striker making the run there. Alex Bruce trying to prod inside. So So after Greenville were the ones possessing and attacking for most of this half, since some of these substitutions Omaha's made, they've been the aggressors. Let's see this one out to the end and maybe find a stunner here and go home with 3 points. I guess they are going on the road here rather quickly. They won't be home for very long given that Tuesday match with Madison. But the phrase still stands.
Greenville 60% possession. 7 shots to 4. Only the 1 shot on target so far for Omaha. Comfortable save in the end for Paul Christensen.
Let's take a look at how this injury came to be.
So Jiba just pulled something, trying to stretch for that ball. Perhaps his right hamstring he grabbed, or his calf. Getting to that stage where a cramp could become a factor. Calf.
Jiba having played in
maybe he pointed at both now.
Both of them at the same time. He's played in every game this season. Has only come off the bench once. Well, look at that pass. Here's Evans. Well guarded by Touche. Now Walker chipping it up. Evans brings it down. It's well defended. But only for a moment, Evans was able to get a shot off. Rashid Nuhu was up for it.
It's a good bit of work from Venton Evans. Bring that ball down. And a good enough save as well by Rashid Nuhu. His lovely chest down. Could have been a handball. Did well. Just snapshot with the outside of his right foot. Nuhu had to be awake at that front post. Rebound could have gone anywhere. Nuhu looks to extend his lead in the Golden Glove race here with perhaps another clean sheet.
You wouldn't be in first in clean sheets if the scoreline stands because Christensen has 6 on the season, and that would put him at 7 should this be a 0-0 scoreline to Nuhu's 6. And another substitution here. Gabriel Claudio will come in. Isaac Bawa making way for him.
Leaving the match, number 21, Isaac Bawa, in the 87th minute.
So Gabriel Claudia will come in, the Yuma, Arizona local.
Final substitution for Omaha. Greenville was still a couple left.
And we're going to get a yellow card to the Omaha bench.
The referee has issued a caution to Union Omaha's bench in the 88th minute.
I'm not sure why the bench just got a card tonight. It hasn't been. I think perhaps just frustration at the way this game has gone in general. It's been a complete stalemate for the most part. Still time for somebody to find a bit of magic. Will be Akoff again. He's been a hero once this season already.
Calvin. That pass gets booted away by Filerman. We're talking to Harks about coach behavior. He said that you have to continue to grow emotionally every year as a coach. He mentioned you try really hard not to overreact to things as the game goes on because then your players will start doing that too. Ball gets tossed in and won't go to any Owl. Refs make mistakes too. That's what Hark said. Sometimes it's just a mistake. You don't have the proper vantage point. They're human. He said, we as coaches just get so invested that you just have to make an effort to check yourself, watch yourself.
Yeah, it certainly happened in that Tucson-Omaha game last weekend. I know there was a pretty significant skirmish that the cameras didn't quite catch. Nobody was suspended for it, amazingly. It looked like they were going to get out of hand, did in the end.
Here's a look here. A good step. Still going. It doesn't get past Brandon Fricky. Knutson will play it back. Looking for a couple more goes before this final whistle blows. Akoff Bill with a tapping effort. That one comes off of Claudio. It'll be a Greenville throw. And we're going to get a Greenville substitution. Noah Frankie making his Greenville Triumph debut in USL League One action. Played 28 games, started 28 games last season, over 2,000 minutes, 4 assists. A fantastic player for FC Tucson.
Great to see. It's been such a long wait. Hurt himself in that first preseason game against Clemson. Missed half the season with that elbow injury. Great to see him back. We'll see if St. John Hawk's just going to give him a little run here on the wing. No pressure.
Substitution brought to you by Spinks. It's one of those acquisitions at the beginning of the season that you thought, wow, this is a big pickup for the Greenville Triumph, and they're now finally getting to see it. We're going to get 4 minutes of stoppage time, brought to you by Engineered Sleep, the best handmade mattresses in town. That ball will sputter out of play. Visit engineeredsleep.com for better sleep as we get a PNC's Corner for Kids. Could be a big moment here for Greenville. They've been bracing the attack for a long time. Noah Frankie quickly takes it. Ibarra. Now check that was Gavilanes. Chips the cross inside. It's connecting to a head, but ultimately fruitless. We said it earlier, Ross. You can't expect a guy to score a goal in every single game. Jamie Smith doing well there to fend off Akoff. There's Noah Frankie. Fenton. Bit of a nutmeg pass. Now Ibarra. Back to Frankie. Noah Frankie. Sends it to Ibarra. The cross in the middle. The header comes down. The flag goes up.
Yeah, that sort of sums up this game, Mark. Just everybody offensively just a little out of whack. And again, credit to both back lines, as we've said. It's not been a great soccer spectacle tonight, unfortunately. Two teams that will certainly be likely battling for the title come the fall.
Sometimes you have stalemates. We still have 2 more minutes. And Omaha been bringing the heat here. That's well done by Gavilanes. And we got another yellow card being brandished.
The referee has issued a caution to Union Omaha's number 5, Gabe Claudio.
Gabriel Claudio getting his 4th yellow card of the season. Gerald Flores, the one, of course, our head official. Yeah, just clumsy. This comes thudding into Alan Gavilanes as we look at it again on the 11-11 systems replay. Should be a Greenville throw. 1 more minute left of the allotted 4 minutes. Frankie lets it go. Jamie Smith sends the cross in. Won't connect to anybody. Stays in play though. Just over 30 more seconds to go. Smith to Frankie. Noah Frankie working one-on-one. Taps back to Smith. Cross comes inside, headed upward. We may get one more moment here. One more PNC's Corner for Kids. Greenville, it'll be their 10th of the night. His 10th time a charm, Ross. We'll have to see. This could be the last moment of this game.
We've had some good deliveries of late, but Omaha defense has been up to the challenge. Have to be once more here.
Service is high and far. And it's lackluster at best. And I think that's how you could describe this game, Ross. 0-0 between these two sides. The defensive units proving too tough to break. And two of the league's best when it comes to the Golden Glove race in Paul Christensen and Rashid Nuhu add another notch to their clean sheet belt. There'll be a point apiece between these two sides, two of League One's premier clubs throughout the years.
With the USL app. Stay up to date on all the latest scores, news, and highlights.
So we're gonna take a look back at our play of the match presented by GSP Airport. It's also our save of the game brought to you by Bravo One. Paul Christensen was the moment his name was called up in this game, and he made it happen.
Yep, Joe Bridger can strike him from anywhere. Venton Evans did a good job of getting between him and the target, Paul Christensen. With a relatively comfortable save, but certainly his best of the night to keep things.
So we're going to step aside. Oh yeah, we're going to step aside for a moment. When we come back, we'll have the highlights, the stats, and our closing thoughts here on ESPN Plus.
At USLsoccer.com/forever.
It's not about building a home in just 30 hours for a deserving family with Habitat for Humanity, or about building homes for a national television competition. It's about building memorable experiences with our community, team members, and trade partners that will last for a lifetime. Hunter Quinn Homes, building the difference.
Hey, Triumph fans! Whenever the Greenville Triumph score not one goal, but 2 goals during a home game, you score big with happy hour pricing and all specialty beers at Habitat. Just bring your game day ticket or tell your server eat more beer to enjoy these special beers paired with fresh, scratch-made food. We also offer an extensive menu of cocktail, wines, and a great place to watch all the away games of the Greenville Triumph. Swing by Habitat and cheer on the team. Habitat, proud sponsor of the Greenville Triumph.
With Academy Sports and Outdoors, you can take outdoor fun to a whole new level with just the touch of a button, because there's so much to discover on the Academy app. Create your dream outdoor living space that gets the whole family out there spending time together. Master new recipes with just the right amount of heat and the perfect spice or seasoning. And give the kids even more ways to play. Great times are waiting. Download the Academy Sports.
It's post-game coverage here after a scoreless matchup between the Greenville Triumph and Union Omaha. Both sides known for their defense, and proving that here tonight. Mark Schoenster alongside Ross Davenport. John Hart's getting some of his closing thoughts with his team, and we'll give ours here in just a moment. But first, we got to review over the highlights, the stats, and all that we promised to you, as the highlights brought to you by GSP International Airport are here and underway. This is probably the biggest play of the game. Rashid Nuhu making a great save on the set piece.
Yeah, made 2 quality saves, one in each half. That was the first one in the first half after a well-struck free kick from Aaron Walker.
And we get in here into the second half of action. See here, just a clunky game. Jesus Ibarra with this awkward shot that ultimately posed a great threat, but Nuhu was up for the task.
Yeah, Rashid Nuhu saw that the whole way. Ibarra didn't quite catch it with the outside of his right foot.
Still had some pace and some punch to it, though. Regardless, then Omaha started to kicking into a higher gear in the fourth quarter of the game, the second half of the second half, if you will. Made some chances, made some things happen, including testing Paul Christensen here, but this would be the ultimate opportunity they would create. Nothing coming too close to goal outside of that one.
That one could certainly have got a deflection and gone anyway, Mark. The other good save by Nuhu here. Venton Evans with some juggling on the outside of the right foot. Nuhu had to be alert.
Good pass from Walker. Venton Evans was able to bring it down. But that would pretty much be it for either of these keepers' night at the office. As we look at the full-time stats here, Greenville with their 7th clean sheet of the season, which is the most in League One, ahead of 6 clean sheets on the season by Union Omaha, of course. both Rashid Nuhu and Paul Christensen, the front runners in the Golden Glove race, and it will continue to be that way going into this next week of action. Omaha have a game on Tuesday, so they got to quickly turn around and get things going again. So if you're watching on ESPN Plus, we'll see you again on Tuesday real quick. If you're a member of the Owl Faithful, well, that'll do it for us here tonight from Legacy Early College. A scoreless matchup between two defensive juggernauts. For our entire broadcasting crew, Ross Davenport, my name is Mark Schoenster saying thank you for tuning in. So long, have a good night, and we'll see you next time here on ESPN Plus.
United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.